In a time filled with uncertainty and brokenness, moving the next generation forward seems daunting. But there's still hope to be found and more stories to create. Jeremiah 29:11 says, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future."
Thank you for joining us, and welcome to Building Hope's 21st annual fundraising event, Stories of Hope. We are so glad you could join us for tonight's event. We invite you to sit back, relax, and see what God is doing in our community and learn how you can be a part of writing the next chapter of Building Hope Community Life Center. At Building Hope, we are healing hearts in a loving environment. We want to create a culture and climate that is conducive to cultivating and nurturing the hopes and dreams of the children and families we are blessed to serve. We want everyone to feel welcome, loved, and accepted when they walk through our doors. We are a family, and Building Hope is our home. Our desire is that Building Hope would be a place of peace and refuge, and that the presence of God will be evident to all.
As elementary lead teacher, a big focus is creating a loving environment where students feel affirmed and encouraged and like they belong. And part of creating that culture as a family is for students to help us think through what they want Building Hope to sound like, look like, feel like, even smell like, for them to take part in the process of creating this family and this culture of who we are at Building Hope. And I think them participating in that process is really what it takes to create an environment that heals hearts.
I wanted it to smell like roses, I wanted it to feel like home, and I wanted it to sound like a forest, something like that.
I want Building Hope to sound like fun.
Building Hope smells good, and it smells like food because they always cook and stuff.
I think Building Hope sounds like God.
We truly see the evidence of a loving environment when we see change in our students. Their parents notice it, we notice it, and it's just remarkable to see a change in behavior, in confidence, and how they view themselves and their schoolwork and other students. And through this environment, they're starting to discover who they are in Christ and how loved they are by God, and that changes everything.
Healing hearts in a loving environment helps a child to grow and believe in themselves too, as well as others, because you let them know that you can do anything that you set your mind to do if you pray and ask the Lord to help you and show you how to do it. I think it's important to have structure to show a child that there are certain directions they should go and there's certain directions they shouldn't go. And if we show them an example in our life and the way we respond to them, then they will know that this is good for me because they love me. A lot of them will say, "Well, Miss Irene, can I go stay with you?" I said, "No, you can't go stay with me because you have to go home, but at the same time, I do love you and I'm here for you." The change I see over time is when another child do the same thing they did and they would say, "You're not supposed to do that up in here. You better go talk to Miss Irene or Miss Molly, and they'll let you know what to do." And so that lets us know that they're listening and they're, taking it to heart. They know in their heart that when we provide this discipline and structure that we love them because we show them in so many different ways. When they start crying, we are there to pray with them or love on them. Or when they're troubled coming in from school, we are there to listen to them because a lot of times, a lot of people don't listen to them, and we do. And then we try to encourage them and point them to God.
My favorite teacher is Miss Nairobi because she's funny, she's cool, and she makes me smile.
I look forward to coming to Building Hope because it's just a great place and a great community, and it just helped me through hard times.
What I hope when somebody walks in here, I hope they see a bright future for themselves.
We want every child to know that where they come from and what they've been through does not define who they are and what they can become, but God does. In fact, God says that they are created in the Imago Dei, His image, and that He has a hope and a future for them. When our kids understand these two truths, the eyes of their hearts and minds are open to all that He has in store for them. When I think about opening eyes, there's one story in particular that comes to mind.
Before coming to Building Hope, I was raised around gangs and gang activity, and it seemed like the only thing they wanted to do was kill each other and be out in the streets.
Tyshawn came to Building Hope at a time in his life where there wasn't a lot of hope to be found.
From the age of 4 to 8, I was living with my father. When I was 8, my father was mistaken for one of his cousins. He was followed, shot, and killed. At that point, me and my oldest sister went to go live with my grandma and my grandpa because we had nowhere else to go. In 2017, one of my other uncles was shot and killed due to gun violence as well. The first time I walked into Building Hope, I felt God's presence, and I knew everything was going to be all right because I seen Miss Irene, and she had a warm, loving heart, and it was a change in the atmosphere. In 6th grade, I attended the after-school program all the way through high school. In middle school, I was introduced to Man of Standard, and that's where I learned how to be a real man. From Man of Standard, you'll learn discipline from the exercise. You'll have fun after the activities that we do, and we talk about God at the end of the day.
Before Building Hope, he had experienced so much loss and pain, from his father being murdered to being placed in foster care and coming to Building Hope. It is such a blessing to me to see all that God has done in and through this young man's life. Here's a young man where he could have used the things that he had gone through to be an excuse to continue the cycle that he had experienced. But the eyes of his heart was open to all that God had for him. And he's been able to use the pain and all that he's gone through to be able to give back to this next generation of world changers.
Towards the end of my senior year, I started volunteering at Building Hope. And after I graduated high school, going into college, I started an internship. In the summer of 2019, I joined the staff of Building Hope, and now I'm an elementary teacher assistant and maintenance manager. Miss Irene always made sure I had a smile on my face every day I walked through the door, and now we get to do it together with the kids. I'm really excited about the future because one day I want to become executive director of Building Hope Community Life Center.
To hear a young man who I've known since 10 years old talk about being the executive director of Building Hope brings me joy. It's an encouragement to know that the seeds that have been deposited so many years ago have taken root and have grown to bear good fruit. I have no doubt that one day Tyshawn will make an amazing executive director. I know that the impact of Tyshawn's story will be more eyes open to the hope in the future that God has for this next generation. At Building Hope, everything we do is about depositing the hope of God and preparing them for the future He has for them. We do this through the programs we provide, which are focused on ensuring our kids are growing spiritually, developing academically, and are equipped with the social and emotional skills and tools for success.
When students start getting behind academically, what we see is that that doesn't just affect their grades, it affects their self-confidence, it affects the way they view school and the way they view their education. And a lot of them we see that they begin to withdraw. And so at Building Hope, we're able to partner with their school and with their teachers to make sure we're supporting them after school, working with them one-on-one on their schoolwork, and really just encouraging them. They're learning that it's really about working hard and not being afraid to ask for help. And an incredible resource and volunteer that we've had for years at Building Hope is Dr. Marcia Ironsmith. She's a retired veteran teacher, and she goes above and beyond to consistently work with our students on their math foundational skills, on literacy and comprehension, and showing them what it looks like to be a lifelong learner.
I think what's required when preparing these young ladies for the future is, number one, modeling. They need to see people or other young ladies or other women who they can recognize themselves in, and they can see, wow, they've overcome so many different challenges, and now I can too. Or even seeing them become the things that these young ladies have hopes and dreams of becoming, and seeing it live out in their reality through the people that we bring into the program. As much as we would love to provide all of the social and emotional support that our girls need, we know that there are certain things we're just not equipped to do. And that's where CareNet comes in, and Miss Miranda has been such a blessing to our young ladies.
When I first started the group sessions with the young ladies at Building Hope, 3 of the hot topics that they wanted to discuss were anger, bullying, and depression. Most of the clients or young ladies that I see in clinic, they normally don't open up until maybe 3 or 4 sessions in. But when I met with the girls, they were willing to go straight in and tell me what they wanted to talk about. I suspect that has a lot to do with the environment that is already established at Building Hope. And so all praises goes to Ms. Nairobi. They are able to connect more with each other. They were able to open up because they know each other. They have group chats with each other, so they speak often with each other. So that made it a lot better for them to open up with me, I believe. When we first started discussing the 3 things that they wanted to talk about in therapy, their response was always a negative response. They always wanted to fight or to fuss or to argue. But now I'm seeing their response is a lot different when I give them the same scenarios that I gave them before. They're able to give me the techniques and skills that we have discussed in therapy. So I know that moving forward, they'll be able to use these skills and techniques that we discussed for whenever life throws them any other obstacle that may come their way.
I know that they're moving forward socially and emotionally when you can actually see the healing that's taking place in their lives. And you can just see them being more prepared and able to face whatever the future holds for them.
So the first time I came to Building Hope was in middle school, actually. I came to 300 MOS. It was every Friday. It was the first place I learned a Bible verse, my first memory verse ever. It was the first place I played pickup basketball with other men. So it was really a special time for me. And that was the first time I had ever come throughout middle school. And now that I'm in full-time ministry as an adult, what really compels me to keep giving back is the gospel and love for these students in this specific community. As someone who grew up in Greenville, I just have a heart to see them empowered with experiences just like it did for me. You know, I think what it takes to develop these young men spiritually is consistent, caring, godly adults in their lives.
I can tell the most when I've earned their trust. When they come to me with just personal issues or just questions they have about manhood or just stuff that they have going on in their lives, and they're like, hey, Mr. Zach, can I pull you to the side and ask you this, or can you give me some advice on this thing that I'm dealing with? And it's just really those real and raw moments in their lives where like, hey, I just need some help, some guidance from an older guy that can help me. So
it took me about 6 months before I felt like I had a genuine connection and had a lot of the students' trust. So before I could ask them deeper questions or ask what's going on at home and things like that, I had to build that connection. And so just being here consistently every week, they start to open up more and we get that relational connection. And that's been super important for us to be consistent. So what I look forward to every Tuesday coming into Building Hope is having deep conversations with the students, being able to help them with their homework and then ask, how's home life going for you? How's your brother doing? Actually knowing stuff about them and knowing who they are and be able to speak into it with the truth of Jesus is the best part about my week.
So yeah, every day I come in and just get to see the progress that they're making. Maybe a student will have a mishap on one day and then they come in the next day and they either apologize or they're just working out and doing better this day. And I just get to see them preparing for their futures, that they're actually taking initiative and really moving forward, and the things that we're teaching them here are actually going to help them later in life.
At Building Hope, we are a family. In fact, one of our desires is to model a healthy family restored in the way that we engage and interact with one another. For us, family extends beyond biological and includes our children, their families, volunteers, interns, staff, board, and the community at large.
So in 2020, myself and some other students saw this as an opportunity to work with a long-standing community partner in Greenville to provide mentorship to the youth in our community.
I think for both of us, we saw this as an opportunity to engage the community, and we just wanted to find the best partner possible, and Building Hope was definitely that for us.
To mentor our youth is not an easy task or no small feat. There's so much that our students need here that we interact with on a daily basis. But if anything, they've shown me that the work is not futile. What we do is important here and has impact. And these students do learn and grow from just being with them and showing them different things that they may not have otherwise been able to see.
As medical students, we do realize that all aspects of life and growth extend beyond medicine and health. So we touch on a little bit of everything from career exploration to health and wellness, but also core aspects like self-esteem and self-development.
Neither one of us had physicians as parents, so the ability to serve as mentors and to show these young men who they can be and what they can be is very important to us.
I think the biggest thing is the relationship aspect that we're building right now, and we hope that by us investing in these young men, they reach back and invest into other young men, and that domino effect keeps going on.
What I look forward to about coming to Building Hope is the boys, is our young men. Recognizing that they are our future, recognizing that we have the opportunity to come and propel them and prepare them to be in the future is really what makes me excited about coming to Building Hope.
Honestly, when we come here, I feel like I learned so much from the boys. We're supposed to teach them, and we do teach, but I feel like they teach us just as much as we teach them.
I first came into Building Hope when I was looking for an internship for my criminal justice degree, and that's when I met Mr. Ellis. Not so long ago, my father got deported, so with him being deported, I took in the responsibility of providing for my family financially and emotional, especially to my mother, and it was just a huge problem that I had over me. God has really used Building Hope to support me and my family. At the beginning, you know, you come in, 2 weeks pass by and they said, "I love you." And I was just like, it's too soon for those type of words. But eventually with time, with the way they treat you, the actions, the way they unite as a family, and the way they are there for you, it just, you know, opened my eyes to see what a true family looks like, even if it's not, you're not related by blood. My internship was supposed to be for only 1 semester, but I got hired on as staff, and now I'm here almost for 1.5 years. By being here in Building Hope, it also helped me with my relationship with my mother. It helped me plant the seed in her heart with Jesus and help her grow in her spiritual relationship with God as well. Even though Building Hope is there to support kids, Building Hope is there to support us as staff to grow. And I feel that God has placed me here in Building Hope to help me grow professionally and spiritually with Him. Estando en Building Hope, yo miré qué significa una familia de verdad y qué ser una familia, y la palabra amor miré lo que significa de veras y cuando alguien sí te ama.
Jesus said something very plain. He said, "I've come to give you life." He called it eternal, he called it abundant, but the gist of it is a life from another world, a life from an out of this world kind of life. And that's inviting us into that. And when I look at Building Hope, which has come out of this church, but has really become an institution in this city, what Building Hope is doing is mining out gems of hope in those communities. And that is the heart in the long view of Building Hope, is that we are mining hope that there is a life. There's a life worth pursuing. There's a life worth going after. And we see that in the ministry of Jesus, and as the church, the hands and feet of Jesus, to step into these communities, love people where they are, teaching them the skills that they'll need in life, and then sparking hope that there's more. And that's what excites me about our partnership with Building Hope and gathering other churches and houses of faith to join in that mission.
Well, at Covenant Church, we decided to support Building Hope many years ago not only because they do good things, but because they do God things. And that's a priority for us. There's a lot of great nonprofits in our county, but we want to make sure that what we support is not just advancing people, but it's advancing the people of God and people for the kingdom of God. And when they go into Building Hope, they're getting love, they're getting teaching, they're getting the academics, they're also getting character training, and they're getting to hear about God. And honestly, for us, that is the most important aspect of it, is that they understand their identity in Christ, and they understand that God is for them and He is with them. One of the things that we really loved about Building Hope is that we could go beyond just financial support, that we could go in and we could help to mentor, we could help with the after-school care. We have a big event a couple times a year called Serve the City, where we get to go and help them with projects around the building, within and outside of the building. We want to be a hands-on church that gives our congregation an opportunity not to be just generous with their giving, but generous with their time too. I think Building Hope needs more hands-on churches. Every nonprofit needs financial support. We all get that. But really, to advance their programs and to make the impact in the community that they desire to have, we have to be there. Our people have to leave the church houses and go into the community, and Building Hope has this humongous need where we can step in any day of the week and really make an impact for Christ.
Here at Reimage, we are so excited that we've been able to partner with Building Hope for many years. This really gives our people an opportunity to actually become engaged, which is really exciting. They get to bring in things on Sundays, bring in bags full of things for Thanksgiving meals and care packages, and then they get to go to the center and help deliver those things and pack those things. They really get to see what an impact they're having, because we realize that in order to see change and impact the future, that we've got to reach the next generation. And the way they show those kids love and care is absolutely amazing.
In my work with Heart for E&C, we've had the opportunity to come alongside a number of amazing organizations in our community. Building Hope stands out as an organization that has been consistent in serving kids and their families in our community for over 20 years. Their faithfulness and the generosity in the way they love kids, encourage them, and empower them to be all they can be is inspirational. And we believe that they would be an incredible way for a kingdom-minded business to invest. I encourage you to consider partnering with Building Hope to make a kingdom impact and continue to help them write more stories of hope that will change lives for generations to come. One example of a business that has done a great job of coming alongside Building Hope is my friend BJ Emerson at Buzzadelic. He has walked alongside them for a number of years and has had a deep impact on the ministry, but also I know the ministry has had a deep impact on him and his business.
Before my agency even owned a video camera, I had a vision. Call it a dream, but it was me and someone else carrying a bunch of video equipment into Building Hope on 9th Street. I saw myself from the air walking through the parking lot. Now, I've walked into that building with many different people, and Buzzadelic has, with Building Hope, created over 100 videos, including the one you're watching right now. In 2017, my production company hired a former Building Hope student named Rael Thigpen to star in our first short film entitled Stuck, which addresses the themes of fatherlessness and forgiveness. The next year, we did it again with more Building Hope students and others who had taken part in our film camps at Building Hope. 5 years later, these short films are going into prisons on DVDs and on tablets, reaching thousands of inmates with messages of hope. The crazy thing is that tablets going into prisons wasn't even a thing when we created these short films. We had partnered with Building Hope before that opportunity even existed. Look at what God can do when we are obedient in investing in His kingdom. And responding to that vision and that seed that God had planted in my heart has been tremendously rewarding. Even if God doesn't give you a vision today, your generosity will make a difference and create more stories of hope in our community.
We're so grateful for the partners we've had over the years. Historically, grants have been the lifeblood of the sources of funding for Building Hope. But we've seen a dramatic shift in recent years where the local community has really gotten engaged to really come alongside and partner in tremendous ways. And that has had a tremendous impact on our ability to hone in on the mission of Building Hope, to equip the students better. So your support as individuals, as businesses, as churches is vital to the future success of Building Hope.
Thank you for joining us for our 21st annual fundraising event, Stories of Hope. We invite you to be a part of writing the next chapter of Building Hope. When our partners invest their time, talent, and treasure into Building Hope, an imprint is left on those who are blessed to serve. The impact is a generation of world changers empowered to transform communities.